Well, I had my PET scan yesterday and I got the results today. I would say the results are good. The primary mass originally was 9 centimeters. It's pretty big. It's called bulky if it's bigger than 7 centimeters. A lot of times that means radiation is a guarantee after you do chemo. And so originally my doctor said 6 rounds of chemo, R-CHOP, and then possibly 2 rounds of radiation. And with the original biopsy, at the time that I had the first chemo, they just went with R-CHOP. And then on August 20th, which is in between the first and second chemo, there was an additional test done on the biopsy. It had to be sent off for this test. And it tests for abnormalities. There are 2 abnormalities in the blood cells. Some people, they can't find the abnormalities. Some people, they can find them and name them. Some people have 1, 2, or 3. I don't know if there's more than 3 ever, but based on what I read, up to 3 on what I read on the findings. So there's 2 abnormalities. And today he said, so it shrank from 9 centimeters to 1.7 centimeters, which is a little over 7 centimeters of shrinkage in 2 rounds of R-CHOP chemo. I think this is really good news. But because of the 2 abnormalities, they want to give me an additional chemo drug. And for whatever reason, this news hit me pretty hard. And I find myself highly resistant to it. I cried coming out to the car. And I just let myself cry. I didn't try to talk myself through it or anything like that. I just said, I need to cry about this. I need to just let something come out. Not try to work through it. Sometimes you just need to cry. And so I let myself cry and I just let myself just be where I am about it. And that is that I don't want more drugs. I don't want more of these incredibly powerful drugs. And by powerful, I don't mean healing. They're damaging. The way they work is they kill blood cells. White blood cells, red blood cells get killed. The primary in lymphoma would be to kill white blood cells. And the different chemos target them at different stages of development. And they're not selective. That means you just kill all the white blood cells that are at that level. That's why your blood cells are such an important thing during chemo. And they want to add another one. And I asked if this was a chemo drug. Does it enhance the already existing chemo drugs, or is it another chemo drug? And he says it's another chemo drug. So I think that means it will kill more blood cells. Maybe. Or it gets to some that maybe the others don't, that are problematic, but that means more blood cells overall. I don't even know if that's why I'm resistant. I think I'm just resistant, and I'm not resisting overall. I just mean this news I'm resistant to. I'm not resistant to the treatment. I'll process and think about it, and if something is presented to me that I really don't want to do, then I will really have to consider my options. I think I just accepted, right now, this is what I think. I was very much at ease going into this. Sitting in the hospital, getting all the news, I was at ease in the sense that I know that I'm just going to go through with this first round of chemo. And I even accepted 6 rounds of R-CHOP. And I didn't know what R-CHOP was at the time. I didn't even know it was called R-CHOP. And it's an acronym for the particular chemo that I'm getting for lymphoma. And I've also had, in the back of my mind, or just in my awareness, that there can be abnormalities. There can be other unexpected things. Maybe I don't tolerate chemo. I've tolerated it quite well the first 2 rounds. The second round was not. I was going to say not as easy as the first, but I'm not going to say any of it was easy. The second round was harder than the first, I mean. So I'm just kind of looking, what's the resistance? Is it just that I needed to cry about all the things that are going on? It feels like a lack of power. I don't really have a say. I'm at the mercy of something. I don't know what I'm at the mercy of. And I'm not talking about what am I really at the mercy of. I'm saying in my experience over here with me, just me as an individual, what is it that I'm at the, what is it that I am saying to myself that I'm at the mercy of that is leaving me with this experience of being disempowered? Why would I cry if I'm empowered, right? Would I cry if I'm empowered? Would I have this kind of cry if I'm empowered? No, this was not an empowered cry. I don't even know if you cry if you're empowered. I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to stick with what I'm dealing with right now. Yeah, there's something to cry about. There's something to process. I don't want to process it right now. I just want to just be with my upset. And I'm going to do that right now. Just be with that. That I am, how am I? Really? There's a sadness. It's not an overarching sadness. It's just the feeling that's there. There's an experience of being at the mercy of something that I don't have control over. Oh, that's juicy. There's some fear. I don't know why there's fear. I'm gonna sit with that too. What's the fear about? I didn't have fear showing up today. I didn't have fear showing up for my PET scan yesterday. I left there really mad at my oncologist, like it's his fault. I was blaming somebody. I've just been sitting in my car for like, oh my gosh, probably an hour. Not like sobbing that whole time, but I cried, and then I just kind of like texted, my wife and let her know the news. It's mixed. It's not all bad news. And my doctor knew that these abnormalities were there, but he basically said, like, if the masses were completely gone, obviously we wouldn't do an extra drug. And he said, it's because you're young that we're giving this extra drug. And I was like, it just feels like, let's hit her harder. Like a little, let's hit her harder. Like she can take it. Anyway, that's just kind of what was there for me leaving. And I just wanted to share it like right now while it's real for me. But that's what's going on. I think there will be some more crying. Purging? Letting something go? That sounds like good stuff. Well, it is chemo day. This is my third round. And last week I found out that my FISH test showed 2 abnormalities, MYC and BCL2. And that's technical Western terminology. I think it's genetics that show a rearrangement. I don't know much beyond that, but I will say that finding this out was a big trigger for me. And by trigger, I just mean it awakened me to some things that I had not really looked at or experienced. So this is like 2 sides of a coin for me. And what I mean is, even though this has brought up some feelings that I don't like fear and anger and all those ones that we say, oh, this is bad, I'm looking at those as, I don't know, kind of like you're searching for something, but you don't have a signal, and there's your signal. There's the light in the darkness, or there's the, I don't know, whatever metaphor you want to use, right? That this fear is showing me something. And even though it's hard to allow myself to feel it, I want to automatically just move on or, bright side it. And I do believe in looking for the silver lining. And that is the silver lining, is that these are signposts to help with looking at mental, emotional, and spiritual things. And so I've just been trying to be with this fear. And it was big today, I think, really because I was driving here. I was tired too. And so I had reduced ability to, look at the silver lining. And so I cried in the parking lot. And I was like, just let it out, just let it out. And today's chemo experience was uneventful. I think I have a new, I just want to stay on topic. And so even though I'm feeling this fear, and there was anger at first, that seems to have dissipated. And some things are being illuminated by the fear. After learning about the new, after learning this new information about this MYC and BCL2 rearrangement, I was actually looking up what cancer drug it might be, because my doctor said it, and it was like amidst this conversation, and so I couldn't really think to ask him for the printout of the information or what the name was again. I just didn't ask for any of that, and I could have gotten it easily, but I didn't. And then over the weekend, I was like, I just wish I had a little more time to think about it. And so I stumbled upon a study done in 2016 and explained, why they changed the medications. And I was happy to find that. And also, for me, it just was like, oh, this makes it complicated. One of the things that I looked at is, why am I fearful? Why am I scared? And one of the things I wrote is, I wanted this to be easy. I wanted the cancer journey to be easy. And now that I'm here, I just have to laugh at myself, because mentally I knew that it probably won't be easy mentally. But there's a difference between mental and reality. And some people would say, mind over matter, mind over matter. Well, if I keep mind over mattering my life, I'm just going to stay where I'm at, because I've been doing that. I have been mind over mattering some things. The other benefit is this woke me up to what kind of change is really needed. So what kind of change was I looking at before getting this news? So before getting this, I was looking at eating a little better, working a little less, making time for things that I love. And after, I am saying this calls for massive change. And I stumbled on something. I think his name's Chris something. He wrote a book, and I think it's called Chris Beat Cancer. And I found his blog, and he just has a nice long blog about when you find out you have cancer. And he said, you have to ask yourself about the way you've been living, because the way you've been living is literally killing you. And I was like, that is true. And some people might say, well, you can survive cancer, blah, blah. Well, he's talking about if you don't do anything, if you don't make a major change to your lifestyle, if you don't do some kind of treatment, the cancer will keep growing. So it could be some miraculous spiritual, transformation. It could be, changing your thoughts. It can be an improved diet. I mean, massively improved, like a millennial leap. I don't know if that goes together, millennial leap, but it sounds huge, right? That's a huge leap. It could be medication, right? And so I was starting off with both natural, Eastern, and Western treatments. And I was really struggling to change my diet. But on my third visit to Dr. Renee, something in that conversation, which was seemed very normal, a very normal conversation to me. I just left there like, I'm going to eat the diet that he's suggesting. And with some help from Kathy around, mental, emotional attachments to food, it became a lot easier. So massive change is afoot, way bigger than I was doing up until last week. And the intention behind it is that I want to live. That's it. And I don't mean just stay alive. I mean live. So, did I decide to do the extra drug? I did. And it came down to that study. I couldn't get out of my mind. So, and it was interesting at the point at which I chose to take the other medication, I was at peace about it. And I'll just say that I have had some difficulty, and I still do, about being settled with my treatment. And I don't mean the Western treatment or the Eastern treatment or the lifestyle changes. I mean the whole thing. I'm just not settled about it. And I don't want that to be conveyed like I'm unsettled, I'm upset or anything. It's not that. It's really that another situation where I actually don't know what it really is. That's going to take a little something, more time than I have right now. So I'll say, I'll take some time and look at where I'm unsettled about that. Settled would look like, okay, the oncologist says we're doing 6 treatments. This is the 3rd treatment. We have a drug change. And then the plan is next time I do that same treatment. And that's for the next 2 more times. And somewhere in there, I'm getting another PET scan, and I'll have a consultation with Moffitt in Tampa. And then just be that this is what we're doing. So I am not, this is what we're doing. And I don't know if I should be or I shouldn't be. And that doesn't really matter what I should or shouldn't do. Shoulds. I feel like I should look up a definition of should. I am settled about seeing Dr. Renee for the treatments that we have on plan, and a chemo detox afterwards, and continued food therapy support and acupuncture support and the herbs. I'm settled about that. I'm settled about taking walks regularly. I'm settled about eating better. And I don't mean just a little better. I mean these soups that build blood and strengthen immunity and are cleansing. That's what I'm settled about. I'm not settled about what other natural therapies or modalities I should do. So that's shown up just this last week since finding about the abnormalities. I just started thinking like, God, maybe there's more I should do. So colonics popped up. If you've had a colonic, talk to me about it. Don't just put it in the comments either. Feel free. Just reach out through a message, Facebook, text, whatever contact information or way you have to contact me, please. A couple of things popped up too, like maybe massage or qigong healing. I'm doing art therapy. I bought a guitar. Interesting. Muscle memory is wonderful. Let me tell you that. I could pretty easily make all the chords I could make 15 plus years ago. They're a little bzz, but I realized like how few chords I was using, and you don't need many to make a lot of songs. But weirdly, I started practicing the way a music teacher would teach you to practice. I thought, this is strange. I must want to play guitar better than I ever did. I now have a doodle journal. I have a dream journal. And I am following Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. Thank you to my soul sister, Julie, for sending me those things. She sent me a dream journal and Louise Hay's book, and it has been beautiful. And Kathy has inspired me to do a doodle journal, which is, it's really a book that you create your own art in, and it's about what are you feeling, and everything goes in there. And so that's really interesting. I'll sign off for now, even though this may not be the end of today's videoing. Thank you for watching. I love you. May your life be wonderful.